January 21st, 2021 comes to us under a cloud of a pandemic, the death of George Floyd, economic uncertainty for many around the world, and the loss of so many of our loved ones. So many empty chairs that represent who we are as individuals. With all this said, 2021 also comes with a new sense of hope. The pandemic has taken so much, though it has also provided us with the opportunity to slow our lives down. It has provided us the opportunity to reflect on who we are as individuals. Taking time to reflect on this past year and the change that it brought in your life, I'm reminded of last January. Tokyo 2020 was a short 9 months away, and Limitless was just a concept. Your days were filled from morning to night. All this changed with the restrictions of the pandemic. Travel stopped, the games were delayed, training took on a new look from your garage. Life slowed down. As time passed, you were given the gift of time to open your heart and mind and put your story on paper. Limitless is a story that will make an impact on the lives of many. It is a story of resilience and hope. You're the best, you can make a difference, and you can change the world. As each year passes and as you grow, I wonder how the meaning of these words have changed. As the first anniversary of your paralysis approached, I wrote about the sense of hope that was in the air as our first Black president was inaugurated. I had the same feeling today, 13 years later. We'll have a new president on January 20th, 2021. President Biden has a challenge of healing our nation, not just as in a political and social sense, though also from the effects of the pandemic. The physical and mental scars are deep and will take time to heal. Through all of this, it is my belief that we will emerge stronger and more resilient as a society. We will have a renewed understanding of the meaning of helping our neighbors and being tolerant of others, regardless of our differences. As parents, we are always working to guide our children with a gentle hand, regardless of their age and circumstance. In this coming year, you will have the opportunity to connect with many. The cover of Limitless showcases your disability. It exudes confidence, independence, and strength. It is my hope that people will see your image and read your story and be inspired to live their life to its fullest potential, to understand the power of forgiveness, resilience, and hope. 2021 will also bring the 2020 Tokyo Paralympic Games. You are pushing yourself physically and mentally as you prepare for the opportunity to represent the United States in your third Games. As you arrived in Tokyo and find yourself at the starting block, looking at that black line and the goal ahead of you, be reminded of all the people that are with you. From the age group swimmers you first competed against, the parents of children with disabilities, the adults that have listened to your speeches, and the family that surrounds you. As you touch the wall, in that moment, pause and feel the embrace of who you have become. Embrace all that has happened during your life, the woman you have become, and the work that remains. I want to close this letter with a quote by a person that I have admired over the years, and a person has made it his life's mission to make a difference in the world. I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference. That was by Jimmy Carter. Continue to be who you are. With love, Dad.
I love that one. I like that you brought in stuff from the first year. You brought in, they're cool because you bring in each time some, depending on what's happening, you bring in things that are actually happening in our world in that year. Yeah. Which is really special because then when you look back at them, it's just also an archive of life
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Wow.
That's a special one.
There's a few little glitches in it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I need to fix up on.
Oh, do you want to be able to edit that before I get to hold it?
Well, no, you can hold it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can hold it. There's a few little glitches.
That's okay. I love that.
As I read it out loud, I noticed,
typo.
I left something out, you know?
I like that though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, it's crazy when you think of where we were last year when you wrote, where's the 2021?
2020.
Here it is. Is this it?
Yeah, January 20.
When you wrote that one, like think of all the things last year that we thought would have happened in what was the 12th year of my paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
We thought it would be Tokyo. We thought maybe there was a chance that we'd try to start having a family, Jay and I.
Yep.
Maybe get to be a grandpa. Like all these things we thought this year would bring. And while it didn't bring those things, it brought other things.
What's interesting though is in 2020, I did not talk about Tokyo.
You didn't, nope.
Which, when you think about it, in terms of what happened, right? I guess it was appropriate because 2020, Tokyo didn't happen.
It wasn't a thing.
So I guess it was good I didn't talk.
But 2020's letter, you wrote, a lot of it seemed like you wrote off the inspiration of the event that we were at the month before at the UN.
Yep.
And the advocacy side of the disability movement and kind of that charge that we've taken on. But it is neat that your quote, you're the best, you can make a difference, and you can change the world. I mean, you even say as each year passes and as you grow, I wonder how the meaning of these words have changed. And I talk a lot about how, like, as a kid, I didn't know what it meant. Like, cool, Dad, you think I can change the world? And as a teenager, I was probably like, shh, get out of my room. I'm going to bed. And then I was paralyzed, and there was a weight to them, but also a comfort in them. And I tell people a lot that my interpretation of them is the root of, like, if you surround yourself with people that ultimately believe in you, regardless of which way the tides turn, that you are the best. Like, in their heart of hearts, they believe you are the best. And they believe that you can make a difference and you can change the world. And through that, you will inherently give your best. And by giving your best, you will make a difference in your own way and you will change the world, which is kind of like the two-prong, right? Like, you surround yourself with the right people and then you do your part to fulfill that.
That's right.
Which is really neat because I don't think any of us had any idea what you meant by it when you said it.
And I probably didn't really think that. I probably didn't know
well,
that
you were
either.
a kid too.
Yeah, I was a kid too. That's
too.
right.
Yeah,
I was a kid too.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was a kid.
You were probably my age when you started saying it. I don't know how old we were. I don't remember not hearing it.
Yeah, probably a little younger than you are now, though, when I first started saying it.
Yeah.
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 But also the other one that's in it is if you read them, like if you read.
Here's the very first year.
Yeah, but there's also.
Which that's cool because you talk about the first year in this year.
Yeah. And if you read it, there is a lot of there's a lot of little challenges that are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you sit down and look at each paragraph, I mean, there's lots of things that I wanted to say and stick in here, and if you read it carefully, you'll start to understand what those are.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, there's a lot of work that remains. It's not over. I mean, you got a lot more to do.
Yep.
But so that they are kind of fun to put together.
Well, and I think what's interesting too to that is, like, you see the healing that's happened, like not just for me, but for you and Mom and the family. Like, the first year, you admit that you were angry.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, because I had just been paralyzed. But then, like, still with that, I think this is where the celebrating began, because you made a point of saying that as you wake up tomorrow, because you wrote this the night before, I'm going to celebrate the person you've become and the people you've touched and the future that is before you. And I found a journal of mine leading into the anniversary, my first one, because I was at Gardner Webb, January 21st was a weekday. I think it was like the 18th or 19th. I had my first collegiate meet as a member of the Gardner-Webb swim team. We swam against Duke. That's when I beat a swimmer from Duke, and everyone now that, you know, if you're a school that's a rival of Duke, they're like, oh, you beat a Dookie. But I had that meet that weekend, and like 4 days later, I want to say the 21st that year fell on like a Wednesday. I don't remember if it was a leap year. But anyways, I wrote in my journal that week leading in, like, I don't know what to think about the 21st as it approaches. Like, was I going to be sad? I didn't know how I wanted to handle that day.
Right.
And so it was really neat because then I read your letter back and hear like what your thoughts were. Simultaneously, here I am 1,500 miles away, somewhere else in the country, trying to figure out what my thoughts are. And I didn't know you were writing this. I didn't know this was going to be your new thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have, what was the other one? Well, you have you have the 4-year one.
Yeah, and that was when I was going into 2020.
Yeah.
Or 2012.
Yeah, when we were going into the first games,
Yeah.
which is crazy because majority of it though, what was neat about this is you allowed other people's kind of testimonials of how our journey had affected them to be the story. And then you have the 10-year praise, which is just crazy, a decade, you think of that. And you always do the quotes in them.
I do the quotes.
Like, see this? So this quote, although you don't always put who, like this one you didn't put who said them.
10 Years of Praise, that was a poem by Elizabeth Alexander.
Oh, that's what it was.
Praise song for the day. And so I pulled out little pieces of each one of them.
So you pulled from the first letter.
Yeah. It was a person that spoke the poem at Obama's inauguration. So I pulled back to that as well.
Well, and then look at this. So like you say, in preparing for this writing, I searched to find one word that summarizes my feelings for this day, a word that summarizes my emotions. This is a day that we have celebrated. It is a day that reminds us of a terrible day, though as time has passed, we all see this as a day that changed your course in life. January 21st, 2008 was a day that gave you a gift. All you needed to learn was to use this new gift to change your life and the lives of everyone you touch. I chose the poem by Elizabeth Alexander primarily for the title, Praise Song for the Day. Today is filled with praise. Praise for the gift that was given to you, and praise for all that you have done with this gift. And I think that what's so neat about that is like even early on, the first year, making the choice to celebrate and look at what happened as an opportunity rather than something that kept us pulled into our past.
And this year I kind of made that comment around forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah, you say right here, the power to understand the power.
Resilience, and hope.
Which is just, I think this 2020 has been interesting because you look at, like for us, our big thing, we've had a few big things in the family, but this particular big thing, and being paralyzed as there's so, for months, like I wanted it to go back to January 20th of 2008, to just like go back to that day so the next day didn't happen.
Yeah.
And you look at our society in 2020, what so many people faced. There's so many people that have yearned, like, when is life just going to go back to normal?
Right.
And it's kind of that idea, like, I look at these letters and it's the reminder that, like, what we once knew normal to be isn't what our normal moving forward will become. Because somewhere in all of this, you as a person change too. So, like, my normal now is not what it was before my paralysis. And that's not just because I can't walk anymore. That's because that moment changes your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's neat to realize like we don't have to yearn to go back to life before something hard happened, because sometimes the hard thing is the very gift that gets you to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool when we look on these letters. Like you talk about them a lot. Like even in the 10 years, you talk about my paralysis as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the reminder that really hard moments in our life, trauma, grief, loss, while they are challenging, they don't define what comes.
Well, I mean, in so many ways, in the first paragraph, I acknowledge all of the tragedy that kind of happened. That's still happening. It's not over yet. It's still going on in 2021. I mean, the pandemic is still there, and people are still passing from it at a pretty high rate. But at the same time, life also slowed down for all of us. I mean, those of us that commuted to work, but we're working from home now, we don't have that commute anymore. There was something there that slowed down. That's something that changed. And for you, that slowdown gave you the gift of time to just sit back and really think and reflect, and that's what's produced Limitless.
And process those 12 years.
Yeah.
It's cool because there's 12 chapters.
Yeah.
And I intentionally did that because while it's going to release in my 13th year, I wrote it in my 12th year.
Right.
And it was like, these are my 12 years. And granted, it's not broken up like each chapter's a year, but it's a little piece that for me, I'll always know when I look back on it.
Yeah. So I mean, and it is. I mean, everybody's going to come out of this with a different perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to have a little different perspective on life as we kind of move out of this. So will we go back to something normal or yearn for something that was before? In reality, it's changed us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's kind of like these spell it out, and you look at the first anniversary and you think of how we were all feeling when this one hit, January of 2009.
Oh, yeah.
You and Mom dropped me off at my dorm room in North Carolina, waved goodbye. We knew nobody there. And I hadn't even been paralyzed a year yet.
Nope.
You talk about just I don't know, like as a parent, letting go twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember our plane ride home. It was a heck of a plane ride home.
And I was just sitting in my dorm all by myself, like, well, all right, guess I should go make some friends now because I don't know anybody.
That's right.
But it's really interesting because like our perspective then, well, it's interesting that there's certain things in this letter that very much still are a part of it. I mean, you ended it with saying, hold your head high tomorrow and celebrate the gift that God has given you, the gift of life, gift of determination, and gift of love. And like, those are all things that are so core to the journey that we've been on. But the perspective changes each year.
And I try not to look at the year before or the other years. This is the first time I've actually gone, this is the most I've looked at these over the years. Because I'm afraid if I do that, then it'd be difficult to create another one. Mm-hmm. And so I purposely have not looked at them. And so this is kind of interesting for me because I have.
Although you did for 10, you looked back on the first one for 10. Because you you knew that you wrote it on January 20th.
Yep.
And what's so crazy is you sat at my desk in my room when you wrote it. You told me where you were when you wrote it.
Yeah.
You literally entered the letter saying, I'm sitting here in your room looking out the window at the desk you used so many evenings this past fall as you completed your studies. And you were still eating cookies and milk every day for breakfast.
Yeah, well, I had to give that habit up.
That's fantastic. Do you see, today is January 20th, 2009. The day began as any day. Yes, for me, that is cookies and milk. As the day progressed, we had the inauguration of Barack Obama. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
And just some of the parallels, I think what's interesting about the first one is some of the parallels from 2009 to now here we are 2021, and you talk about hope in here, a path that is full of hope for all of us.
Yeah.
And then this year's is open letter of hope, which is really cool.
Which I think, given what we've been through everybody's been through it in 2020, this is the year of hope. We hope for, a whole lot of things to happen. So, yeah. No, it's...
How did you start the letter? What made you decide, I'm going to write Mal a letter for her anniversary?
I think I just said that. I'm going to write you a letter for your anniversary.
You just did it?
I just did it. And then after that...
Because it started a tradition. I mean, look at this. Every year now, and you can't miss a year because, trust me, I'll be calling you on the 22nd. Where's my letter at?
Right. That's right.
I'll be reminding you, you've got homework to do, because I got to keep adding the letters. They tell the story.
And there is a little bit of stress that comes with it, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to write? It took me a while to figure it out, to figure out what's my outline. Once the outline's done, I think I'm okay. But what's the outline? What do I want to cover? What's the message I want to try to deliver?
But you have your quote in every single one.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I try to keep that in there.
In every single one, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Gosh. So you just randomly decided, I'm going to write Mal a letter.
One year, 2017, I put a quote by you and a quote by me. Put the quote in. I did 3 quotes. I did one by John Lennon. I did one for you.
What was the one for me?
It's not the circumstance, and you'll have to define it. It's how we react to them. And then it might make a difference.
Yeah, and then you, one year, what was it, the second year? You did the list?
Yeah,
I mean, goodness gracious.
And that one, you got to put glasses on to read this thing. And it's a list of so small font.
I wanted to give you a list of some of
accomplishments. You moved to North Carolina, made the national team, had the first magazine article written on you, set your first American record, made your first appearance on local news, received your international classifications, set your first world record, made Shorts Course Worlds, accepted the University of Minnesota, made your first appearance on national news, received the USA Swimming Tricia Zorn Award.
For Disabled Athlete of the Year. First full interview aired via the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, you covered everything. Named to the USA Swimming Disability Committee.
Received a banner on your accomplishments at Egan High School. First major newspaper article written. Attended your first major international meet. Had an American flag raised and your national anthem played for you. Named Disability Athlete of the Year by Swimming World Magazine. Moved into your own apartment.
Yeah, that's right.
Made your first public speech. And into the year with 7 world records and 20 American records.
I was a busy being that second year of my paralysis. Also, how about that first speech?
Made your
first public speech. Interesting. Was this?
That's.
Oh, I think that was when I spoke at the school.
It must have been.
Because 2011 is when you signed me up for a corporate keynote without telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2011. I don't have that letter right here, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't have that one. But,
busy bee.
That was a busy list, wasn't it?
That's impressive.
Kind of interesting, isn't it, to look back at that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, craziness. Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, you have them all assembled someday. I don't know how many there'll be. There'll be a lot of them. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon.
I have a lot of letters. We'll have to make our own little book.
Yeah. Book of letters.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Good.
Open letter of hope.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There she is.
What'd you think of the Jimmy Carter quote?
I like the Jimmy Carter quote. I like the conversation in it of where my faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can with whatever I have.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes it's easy to fall to the, while I was paralyzed. I can't do this, or something happened in my life. And because of that something, it's easy to come up with the things that you see as the limitations and what you can't do versus opening yourself up to the possibilities and what you can do.
Right.
Which, I mean...
Yeah, which I think is part of what he's talking about there.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
I think it's a great quote.
fitting with the fact that Limitless is the name of the book.
That's right.
Limitless. And it's not the idea that like limitless in, oh, well, we can just all do. It's the idea that when you honor your journey, whatever that is, and choose to show up in the best way that you know how every day, that's how you find your limitless potential, which is in a lot of ways kind of what he's saying here. Like, I have one life and one chance to make it count for something.
That's right.
And you just show up.
Show up
And
and
it's
do it.
that simple and that complex, but that's what you do.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you.
Well, hey, do I get a hug? And I haven't had that guy.
I can't do a daddy home from work hug though anymore. I used to do those every day.
I know.
I'd come running down the hallway and jump.
Yeah. But I'll have to say this. I haven't given you a hug because of COVID in a
When's the last time
long
we-
time.
Are you gonna throw a Mally in there and guilt me into a big hug? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That feels good.
You're the best. You can make a difference and you can change the world.
Thank you so